You must have heard about UNESCO at least once or twice in your life. Come on, it is the United Nations educational, scientific and cultural organization. But have you heard about UNESCO's World Heritage List? It is where all the places of unique significance are listed. And I'm right now in one of these places. To be more exact, I am in Lesser Poland, 100 meters underground, in a spot which was created almost 8 centuries ago. So all of the UNESCO boxes are ticked. Where am I?
You're right now in the historical Wieliczka salt mine, the oldest in the world mining facility that has been continuous work since medieval age.
So when was it open?
We don't know exactly data, but we know that was the end, the 80s of 13th century. Till now, it works continuously without any single break, even for the Second World War. What always is surprising our visitors.
The World Heritage List was established in 1972, but the first sites were added in 1978. The list consisted of 12 places from 7 various countries: Germany, Ethiopia, Senegal, the United States of America, Canada, Ecuador and Poland. How deep underground are we right now?
Right now, this is just first level, so not very deep. 64 meters below the ground. I can say not very deep because that place is much deeper.
Can we go deeper?
Of course, yeah. The tourist route is on the depth of 135 meters below the ground. We have approximately 300 kilometers of corridors. Nearly 2,500 of chambers, great chambers like that one. Mine has 9 levels altogether, until 327 meters below the ground.
327 meters is the depth, so you could fit an entire Eiffel Tower here.
Of course, yes. So we are a really, really huge place. This is really like the town under the town. We have everything here.
The unbelievable spaces of cathedrals and basilics, such as St. Peter's or Notre Dame, impress us with their beauty. But this majestic salt mine might be the best example of the existence of a special power. The power of creativity, resourcefulness, and ingenuity of the human race, enabling us creating such breathtaking places. So how did it all begin? How did a small hole in the ground become this?
This is always surprising that salt was really expensive. That was the treasure. They say that in the medieval age, there was the same price like the weight in silver. Try to imagine, you have to grab one full hand of salt, one full hand of silver, just to change 1 to 1. So yeah, that was like, you know, the treasure, like white gold. Behind me, you can see the bosom of our king, medieval king, Casimir the Great, who was the owner of our mine, like every single Polish king after him, Polish government right now. And at his time, Poland reached extraordinary prosperity thanks to that place. 1/3 of the king's incomes come from that place.
In my local supermarket, 1 kilo of salt costs approximately €1. So for this roll of salt, I would have to pay €2,000. In the medieval times, I would be able to buy an entire village for it. How many chambers are there in Wieliczka?
In total?
In total, yeah?
2,500.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, this is quite a lot.
But there is this one that everybody talks about.
The biggest underground church in the world with entire decoration made in salt. The Sand King Chapel, exactly. Entire history started here in 1896, so in the end of 19th century, because exactly then miners finished the exploration of that block of rock salt. And then they realized how huge, how irregular space they created inside. And then they decided to decorate it as a church. It took them 68 years. And they weren't the professional artists, just the miners. Everything is made in salt, all details. The main altar, all sculptures, chandeliers. Yeah, chandeliers, this is something what always amazed the people. They are huge, they are beautiful and made in salt.
Me being 48 years old and knowing that salt is sodium chloride, would I make a good miner?
May I be honest? You're too old.
Oh.
Sorry, if you think about medieval age. I'm 48 as well, so I know what I'm saying. Yeah, we are too old for that hard working, but
Only talking about salt is not enough to gain respect for a simple salted tomato. Right now, I am in the part of the mine which is not accessible for tourists. I'm heading to meet Mirek. Why? Well, a little less conversation, a little more action.
We're going to the mining front.
Okay, I'm right-handed, so
Great. That's it.
these few moments of mining made me realize that for someone like me, this is the closest I can get to actual physical labor, physical work. I think I'm done. That someone had to perform hundreds of years ago in order to make his living. No, I'm not done yet. I'm already out of breath. But which end should I be using? This one, the wider, or this one?
I see you're doing better with the wider one, so I'd stick with that.
Okay, so the wider one. Let's carry on. And these were only a few minutes, and I'm dog-tired, I would say. How much salt did I produce?
At least a kilo or two. You can take this as a souvenir.
Oh, I'm gonna have something for my tomatoes. I have my own salt, which in the 15th century I could buy a cow with, I think. How did the tradition of religious masses develop here? Because I've also heard people greeting themselves with God bless.
Yes, this is traditional greeting for our mind. This is not just how are you, this is really passing the blessing of God to the others. But you have to understand that people who work here under the ground, they knew that that work is so dangerous. They really needed to feel the blessing of God. Everything could happen here.
If you think that you have a tough job, then think again. Imagine being one of these workers crawling around the corridors of this mine. trying to locate the clouds of methane and burn them out with an open fire. If the cloud was too big, then bam! And you didn't come back home. I think I truly appreciate what I do to earn my living. St. Kinga's Chapel might be the biggest and the most representative, but this one is the oldest.
Oh yes, indeed. This is the oldest chapel in the entire mine. I would only add that in the entire mine we found out approximately 40 sacred places altogether. And the St. Anthony's Chapel we're in is definitely the oldest one in the entire mine. The first mass was held here in 1698.
Millions of tourists visit this mine yearly, but when all this tourist rush began?
It was opened in the 18th century and was becoming more and more popular those days. Yes, indeed, we have approximately 2 million people visiting us every year.
But I consider myself to be very lucky because this chapel is not available and accessible for everyone.
Because it's located so close to the shaft for centuries, humidor, which was running through the chapel, was devastating this place. So it's not in the best shape at the moment. So we decided to keep it as it is, to keep it for the next generations.
To make something so down-to-earth like salt more romantic, you need a legend. And founding of mines in Wieliczka and Bochnia is a subject to a beautiful story. Princess Kinga, she was a daughter of a Hungarian king Bela IV, and she was supposed to be married to Bolesław, Duke of Poland. Although her father promised her a traditional dowry, she requested only for a few salt miners to accompany her to Poland, since she knew that rock salt wasn't extracted here then. Before leaving Hungary, she visited one of the local mines and she dropped her engagement ring there. After coming to Poland, the miners discovered salt here, and her ring was miraculously found in one of the first salt lamps extracted in Poland. Oops, I think I'm in the middle of something. You share the spot on the World Heritage List with Bochnia, and I'm going to right now stir a pot, because you also share one legend about St. Kinga.
Yes, and it's a huge argument.
Where was the ring found?
You know, the first problem is that still there are two theories which mine is older. So our legend is connected to both places.
Well, her father was very rich, so we can imagine that she had two rings, and both were found here.
Yes, she dropped them.
We are 64 meters underground, but above our heads, life carries on, and everything changes. People's lives go on, and Wieliczka salt mine is like a time capsule, because, well, almost nothing changes here.
No, I can say that this is thanks to salt. Salt is preservative. I think we are as well, preserved here. You can get down here and get in peace, in quiet, and smell that history, see that history, live in that place where our ancestors lived. So, yeah, this is just Wieliczka.
And this is the reason why it is on the UNESCO's World Heritage List.
Yeah.
Ready for more UNESCO? Wieliczka salt mine is 100 meters away this way, this way, this way, or even technically this way, because it is literally under my feet. And it would be such a waste when you come here as a tourist not to visit Żupny Castle, which is also a part of the World Heritage List. Żupa Solna, what is it?
Żupa
Żupa is an old term for a place where salt was produced. And salt works, where salty water was evaporated to obtain salt. Żupy krakowskie refers to more than just the mines.
Salt created the salt mine, but it also created this castle, which was needed in order to...
The castle, on whose grounds we are now standing, is a defensive structure dating back to the medieval period, built to protect salt production. The princes of Krakow, and later the kings of Poland, cared for this enterprise by expanding the castle over time.
Is it true that you have here one of the oldest, if not the oldest, shaft?
In the courtyard of today's Żupny Castle in Wieliczka, you can see the remains of one of the oldest, possibly the oldest, exploratory shafts, dating back to the 13th century.
Why do you think Żupny Castle deserved to be put on the World Heritage List?
It's an inseparable part of the old Żupy Krakowskie enterprise. Salt was produced in both Wieliczka and Bochnia, but under a single administration. The Żupny Castle in Wieliczka served as the administrative hub, essentially the seat of power during the medieval period. This is where you'd find the Grocha chamber. In the Middle Ages, kings would come here. There were courts and all governing functions in one place.
Working underground is definitely not for me. But since I'm still trying to establish my work path, I realized that the salt mine administrator would be my dream job. I would have a castle, a good salary, and access to one of the most precious things in the world, salt. Zuparius salis Urbańczyk. It even has a very nice ring to it. So, where do I apply? Three gorgeous sisters, Żupny Castle, Wieliczka and Bochnia, are listed as one at the UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they cannot decide which one is the prettiest. In order to fully understand this sibling rivalry, let's introduce the third sister, Bochnia. Wieliczka and Bochnia. Which mine is the oldest?
That's a tricky question, I have to say. It's
I
quite
know.
difficult to answer today. But there are documents which state that in 1251 rock salt was found in Bochnia, so that would indicate that this mine is actually older than Wieliczka.
How many kilometers apart are those two mines?
Approximately 30 kilometers east from Wieliczka, so 40 kilometers from Kraków. But to be honest, both mines were parts of the same deposit. So actually the same rock salt, which you can find in Wieliczka, you can find here. The deposit goes back to Miocene time, so it's 13.6 million years old.
So they are the same deposit and they are on the same UNESCO World Heritage List.
The whole idea was to put the whole royal enterprise on the UNESCO list because this is the oldest, Europe's oldest industrial facility.
This passage in Bochnia is a true underground challenge. No fancy sculptures, no beautiful chapels, just blood, sweat and tears of salt miners who centuries ago created this place using only their hands.
Here the deposit is slightly different. It's very long, but very narrow. And because of that, we got chambers which are very narrow and very high. We call them cathedral chambers because of the shapes. So it was much more difficult to extract salt here, and they started getting deeper much faster than in Wieliczka.
So how deep can you go?
So Tori's shaft is currently 289 meters deep, but we've got another shaft, which was sunk in the 16th century. It's called Campi. That shaft is currently 343 meters deep. It used to be 412.
The Wieliczka as a sister is more effervescent and frivolous, I would say, but this one is very serious, but still very appealing.
Because it's a raw mine. You can see the traces of pickaxes, you can see actually how everything was left by the miners when they left it, because this is not operational mine. We stopped mining the rock salt in 1990.
I am familiar with disagreement because I know that Wieliczka thinks that the ring of Kinga was found there, and Bochnia thinks it appeared magically here. So what's the truth?
Oh, they are wrong. We claim it happened here.
Planning a journey in the 21st century, we go through the internet looking for inspiration and interesting places to visit. But in 1978, UNESCO came up with a list of sites of cultural and physical uniqueness. And with our program, we'll try to show you this unbelievable world. Do zobaczenia!